Tonight, a busy 24 hours for fire crews across our region, and an inquiry into land access on South Australian farms a step closer to reality.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. Firefighters have spent several hours battling a blaze, which destroyed a home in Broken Hill. Surrounding streets were blanketed in thick smoke, with neighbours relieved nobody was inside the burning building.
Under the cover of darkness, a Broken Hill street turns into a sea of flashing lights as flames leap from the roof of this chloride street home.
You had to go to work, so seen all the smoke. It was a bit of an interesting sight. The house was just blazed.
Neighbours woken by sirens, heading outside to find thick smoke covering their street.
Smoke pouring out of the roof on the corner here, so it's not good.
Fire crews alerted by multiple emergency calls. 20 firefighters working through the night, but there was nothing they could do to save the home.
We responded with 2 trucks initially, arrived to a scene with large amounts of smoke and fire in the roof.
The fire was so intense it took almost 3 hours to bring under control. Crews remaining on scene for much of the morning to get on top of any flare-ups.
It's a large house fire, yeah, it is quite a large house. And the fire being in the roof is a difficult fire to fight.
Police also attending, working with firefighters to determine what sparked the blaze. However, it's not believed to be suspicious. Neighbours and emergency services just glad nobody was home at the time.
Yeah, it's very sad. Yeah, they're lucky not to hear because it would have been a bit tragedy for them all.
Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Meanwhile, more than a dozen firefighters were sent to a shed fire on Gordon Street in Wailanori yesterday afternoon. Police blocking off part of the street to oncoming traffic as the smell of smoke filled the neighbourhood.
A chaotic sight here on Gordon Street. Emergency services were called to the Whyalla residence at around 3:45 yesterday afternoon. More than 12 firefighters and 3 fire trucks rushing to the scene. Crews running in and out of the home, pushing out the structure fire at the back of the property.
It was a car shed approximately 5 metres by 4 metres, and inside was he was using it as a 3D printer.
Mr Heffernan says the owners were alerted to the fire, suspected to be caused by the 3D printer, when they came home.
It had been left on accidentally whilst he was at the doctor's and suspected that had overheated.
Police blocking off parts of the street to oncoming traffic. Neighbours anxiously watching on from their front yards as a smell of smoke pierced through the street.
We had 6 personnel in breathing apparatus using a 38mm line and 2 high-pressure lines.
Firefighters were able to stop the shed and pergola fire from reaching the house. There were no injuries and all personnel were accounted for. The damage bill is approximately $15,000. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A 67-year-old Davern Park man has been charged following a fatal crash at Red Hill in December last year. Just after 9:30 on Sunday the 27th of December, a truck and a car collided. A 30-year-old Seaton woman died at the scene. Police have arrested and charged a truck driver with aggravated drive without due care and causing death by dangerous driving. He'll appear in court in mid-April. Police are calling on the community for information regarding a hit-and-run crash at Peterborough last week. CCTV captured the moment a car towing a caravan hit a parked motorbike, causing it to fall over. The incident occurred just before 1 o'clock on Wednesday the 24th of February. The driver then headed in the direction of Orroroo. Anyone with information is being urged to contact Crime Stoppers. A Port Lincoln woman has had her licence stripped after recording a blood alcohol reading nearly 4 times the legal limit. Patrols pulled over the Suzuki station wagon on Adelaide Place just before midnight on Saturday. The 23-year-old undergoing a breath test, returning a positive reading of 0.196. Her vehicle has been impounded and she will be summoned to appear in court at a later date. Police are renewing calls for road users to not drink and drive, urging those consuming alcohol to plan an alternative way to get home. Frome MP Jeff Brock's fight for a select committee into land access rights is a step closer to reality. The state government losing 2 votes on the floor of Parliament today, creating an opportunity for it to move forward.
It's been a long wait, but today the member for Frome moved closer to forming a select committee on the mined land access bill.
Everybody, including the landowners, the pastoral people, the mining companies and things like that, have the opportunity to actually get the best result and make certain that no one is hard done by.
His motion calling for an independent review into the rights of resource companies to access land held by farmers. Labor and the newly powerful crossbench using their numbers to support the plan.
We want to investigate how that works. Is it fair? Is it operating accurately? And make recommendations to the Parliament.
The inquiry has previously been knocked back multiple times. Mr Brock claims there wasn't enough public consultation with previous mining bills.
In my opinion, it was steamrolled through the Parliament. It wasn't a lot of consultation out there. And so what I'm trying to do is make certain we've got the best opportunities.
The Energy Minister raising concerns on how it could impact laws already in place, with the committee scheduled to report back on the 16th of November.
We'll miss out on all of the benefits of the things that our government has been intending to do between now and then.
It was a bad day for the state government, losing 2 votes on its first day in Parliament as a minority. Labor claims they are losing control of the lower house.
The government have tried to stop this. They try to stop it today, but it's going to get up, and those country independents are going to deliver for regional South Australia.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, the Council of Social Services warns the Lower Eyre Peninsula is in the midst of a housing crisis. And Broken Hill welcomes 4 new constables to the local beat. Welcome back. Eyre Peninsula's dire housing security has come under the spotlight, with the Council of Social Services visiting the region. The peak body says enough is enough and will be fighting for change in the upcoming state election.
The hidden crisis reaching breaking point.
Housing and housing security is often an issue right across our region.
Port Lincoln Services laying bare the challenges facing regional communities.
We see transport as an issue and also poverty as a growing issue in our regions.
The South Australian Council of Social Services sitting down with leaders in Port Lincoln to hear about the systemic problem firsthand.
There's absolutely no doubt that housing sits as one of the most important issues across South Australia.
The council says it paints a grim picture, with housing prices on the march and the state's unemployment one of the worst in the country. To add insult to injury, JobKeeper and JobSeeker are expected to end this month, which they say will only exacerbate the problem.
It's going to create massive issues around extra unemployment across the Eyre.
They say they'll hound the state government all the way up to the next election if need be, in a bid to put a spotlight on the issue.
These are the issues that you need to be paying attention to. We know that because we've been talking to people directly affected.
I think there's always an opportunity to do more, particularly when we're talking about some of those most vulnerable.
Nathan Rector, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
New police recruits have had their first day on the job, joining the ranks at Broken Hill. The 4 new officers are a welcome addition, bringing police numbers in the city to the highest they've been for some time.
Stepping into Broken Hill Police Station for the first time. 7 new probationary constables will be deployed across the Barrier District, 4 of those to be based here in Broken Hill.
I'm from Canberra and I wanted to pursue a career in policing.
Got placed here and excited to be here.
After graduating in the first full-scale ceremony since the COVID pandemic began, our new recruits will spend the first 3 years of their careers here.
I hadn't heard too much about Broken Hill, but when I got here I can see it's a really close community and I look forward to working within it.
Building community ties vital in regional towns, with proactive policing a key way to drive down crime.
I want to work with the youth, be someone to look up to, be a role model for those children and create a good bond between the community and the New South Wales Police.
They'll also branch out into different areas under the supervision of experienced officers.
They'll basically be doing general duties, but we'll also get them into some rotations through the proactive units as well as our traffic and highway and other units here to give them that overall experience.
The 4 officers helping to bolster numbers in Broken Hill.
We're probably at operational capacity the best that we've been for a long time, so it's great for the community.
And as for what we can do to make them welcome,
Always be up for a chat, say hi.
Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Port Augusta students are jump-starting their university studies, having enrolled in Uni Hub Spencer Golf's Start University Now program. They say they're taking the opportunity to help ease their transition once they finish school.
It's the program giving senior students a taste of tertiary education before they fly the classroom nest. Partnering with CQ University, Uni Hub is providing students the opportunity to study a university subject as part of their senior schooling,
which will go towards their bachelor once they commence university, and it also goes towards their SACE certificate as well as their ATAR at the end of Year 12.
12 students from across Port Augusta Secondary School and Caritas College participating in this orientation session, giving them a feel of what to expect. For these students, choosing to enrol in the SUN program is helping them get a head start.
So I learnt about how to use the resources at CQ University.
It's definitely given me the confidence and reassurance to be doing the right thing once my course starts, and I feel more confident with navigating the websites.
Teachers say it's a great way to prepare students for future education while rewarding them with credit towards their ATAR.
Well, a lot of students are really keen on studying at university, but they find moving away from home is daunting, and so this gives them a chance to try university life when they're at high school, see if it's what they like and see if they want to pursue it.
More information can be found online. Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us. Mining exploration reaches record numbers in New South Wales. And Eyre Peninsula residents urged to have their say on the region's landscape plan. A man will face court following a number of break-ins at Port Augusta on Saturday. Just after 8 a.m, a home on Hunter Crescent was broken into, with items including a mobile phone, torch and cash stolen. A short time later, a second home was broken into with cash stolen, followed by a third. The suspect was located walking nearby. Police searched the 18-year-old Wyler Stewart man, allegedly locating the stolen items. He was arrested, remanded in custody, and will appear in court on March 9. As mine expansions and developments continue across the far west, new statistics show 2020 was the second highest year for mining exploration spend across New South Wales. The Australian Bureau of Statistics says $288 million was spent on exploration works last year. Cobalt Blue has recently expanded its area as its pilot plant operations begins, while Carpentaria Resources says the iron ore body at the centre of its Horsens Iron project is the largest undeveloped resource of its kind. Locals can now have their say on a new regional landscape plan set for the Eyre Peninsula. The draft plan will set a vision and priorities for the region, helping achieve sustainable landscape management. Sophia Contogonis has the story.
Community consultation is now open for the new regional landscape plan, a refreshed and more simple strategy for everyone involved.
Part of the reform brought in by the Marshall Liberal government was reform of the Natural Resource Management System. So the old Act, the Natural Resource Management Act, was repealed and replaced with the Landscape South Australia Act.
Under the new Act, a landscape board was formed and populated, the group's first order of business putting together this revised plan.
How we plan to spend the money that we raise and how people interact with landscapes.
The new plan is broken up into 5 key components: water, sustainable agriculture, pest, plants and animals, biodiversity and community.
Part of the reform that the Marshall government brought in was to make a simpler and more accessible system.
Mr Whitfield says the plan is vital in maintaining the Eyre Peninsula, from farming land to the coastal saltmarsh areas that are home to threatened birds. He encourages all locals to complete the survey.
To water, for example, they might suggest that we consider prescribing all of the water resources across the entire Eyre Peninsula rather than just in some parts.
Residents can find more information online, with consultation closing on the 29th of March.
Time to have a look at sports results from around the region now. And we are starting to see a transition from summer to winter as many competitions enter their final rounds. Our reporter Katrina Musson has the weekend wrap.
The sun is beginning to set on a number of summer sports, with finals fast approaching across the region. Starting with Port Augusta basketball, Titans defeated Wildcats, but it wasn't without a scare. In a tight match, Titans managed to scrape home by 5 points. In Whyalla, and the first round of finals saw Wildcats claw their way to victory against Titans to win by 8 points. The other match saw Roos leaping over Demons, winning by 2 points. Over to Port Lincoln, and Souths were no match for Rangers, finishing the match with a 7-point win. Now over to Port Pirie softball, and Solly Cats defeated Tigers by 7 runs. The other match saw Cougars secure a win against Checkmates by 13 runs to 5. In Whyalla softball, Indians secured another win over Roadies, while the second game saw a comedy of errors from both Eagles and Tigers. Eagles securing 9 in the 5th dig, ending the game in a 12-all draw. Now over to tennis, and the Southern Flinders Tennis Association saw their first round of finals. In the first game, Warrabara smashed Wilmington, securing their spot in the grand final, while the other game saw Port Germain defeat Morchard, placing them in next week's semi-finals. Across the border in Broken Hill, another hard-fought night of tennis saw Top Spins make it 2 wins on the trot, defeating forehands by 4 sets to 2. Match 2 saw serves go down to backhands, and volleys had a comfortable 5 sets to 1 win over drop shots. And finally, the first round of Broken Hill netball saw New Kids smash Morgies by 17. And in a close game between NAB Stars and West Flames, the Stars came out on top. The final score 34-26. And that's all for sport from across the region. If you would like your team's results featured, let us know through our Facebook page.
Stay with us after the break. A local seafood company wins a prestigious award. And we'll have the weather details with Alex Sykes. Hello again. Port Lincoln has continued to shine as the country's seafood capital, with one local company walking away with gold at a national competition. Yamba Aquaculture's prized abalone taking out top gong at the Sydney Royal Fine Food Competition. The company farms the shellfish on the outskirts of Port Lincoln, Kangaroo Island and in Victoria, exporting to markets across the globe. It's the second time Yamba has won the award, cementing its product as one of the best in the country. Time to take a look at what's happening in the weather across the Spencer Gulf and Broken Hill. With all the latest details, here's Alex Sykes.
Thanks, John. We had mainly fine conditions across the Gulf today. From 3 p.m, Port Augusta was partly cloudy and reached 31. Port Lincoln also cloudy and got to a high of 21 degrees. Mostly sunny at Cooper Pedy, 38 degrees there. Looking further out across the region now, Whyalla got to a high of 26 degrees. Broken Hill sunny and 26. It was 23 in both Kadina and Cleve. Cloudy in Port Pirie and got to a high of 31 degrees there. Mostly sunny in Adelaide, 24 degrees, partly cloudy in Woodner 25 and Cleve was 23 degrees. Taking a look at the satellite image now, cloud over western and southern South Australia with a trough is generating areas of patchy rain. Skies are clearest in the north and far east under a ridge of high pressure. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. East to southeasterly winds 15 to 25 knots, tending southeast to southerly for a period of time in the afternoon. Seas 1 to 2 metres, increasing to 1.5 to 2.5 by the early evening, and south to southwesterly swell below 1 metre. Mainly fine conditions across the region. Tomorrow, Port Lincoln partly cloudy, a top of 22 degrees there. Cleve and Woodner both mostly sunny, 24 and 31 respectively. 28 are mostly sunny in Whyalla. Similar conditions in Port Augusta and Kadina, with tops of 31 and 29 respectively. Port Pirie will have max of 31, 27 in both Clare and Broken Hill. Taking a look further through the week now, looks like clear skies and mild to warm temperatures on Thursday. Cooper Pedy will have the region's top of 36, 32 in Woodner, 27 in Broken Hill and Whyalla, 30 for Port Pirie and cloudy and 23 in Port Lincoln. Those clear conditions and warm temperatures will carry through till Friday. Cooper Pedy will reach a top of 34, 33 in Woodner, 31 degrees for Port Augusta and Port Pirie, 23 degrees in Port Lincoln and 26 degrees in Adelaide if you're heading there. And a cloud band will begin to move across the region on Saturday. 34 degrees for Port Augusta and Woodner. Whyalla and Kadina will have tops of 30, 32 the maximum in Port Pirie, and set to reach a high of 28 in Adelaide. So those mainly fine conditions are expected to continue through our first week of autumn, and that's all the weather from me for tonight. John, it's back to you.
Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Tuesday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later, and we will be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.